Hi scholars, welcome to our channel Academia Unlimited. First of all, a very happy Diwali to all of you. Today I have brought for you a short story. The title of the short story is Memories of the Real Diwali. Interestingly, this short story is also based on the theme of Diwali. So sit back, here we go. Let us listen to the short story Memories of the Real Diwali. It was a pleasantly cold late evening at Oxford Street, London. A chilly wind was blowing at a soothing speed, which made a stroll along the boulevard pleasurable. Divir had come all the way from his residence near Holland Park to this lively place in central London for one special reason, and that was Diwali. Diwali, or the resplendent Indian festival of lights and prosperity. It is the festival which marks the homecoming of Lord Ram after his glorious victory over Ravan, the mighty king of Lanka. The day when Lord Ram returned back to his capital Ayodhya is celebrated as Diwali. To welcome him and to celebrate the victory of good over evil, the people of Ayodhya lit lamps or diyas outside their houses to display their joy and happiness. Since then, it is a lively tradition in India to light up our homes, houses, villages, towns and cities in radiant lighting which is called Prakash or Roshni. Our dear young hero of this story is named Divir Jain. He was an investment banker working in a top-notch financial corporation at London and was minting money left, right and centre. The charms and thrills of London had made his life beautiful. Thanks to Karan Johar and his cinema, London had become the apple of every Indian's eye. Each Indian fancied the idea of going and working there or living there for some reason or the other. Everyone presumed that the moment someone shifted base to London, he or she would wear suave long coats like Shah Rukh Khan and embrace a vibrant life with Shah Rukh's signature open arms pose. Our Divir was also one of them. Though London kept Divir in good spirits, there was one occasion which made him miss his home terribly, and that was Diwali. Actually, Divir belonged to Jaipur, the pink city of India. Everybody knows that the fervour with which Diwali is celebrated in Jaipur has few parallels. During Diwali, that gorgeous pink city, which is an epitome of a rich blend of tradition and modernity, is bedecked and bejewelled like a bride on the day of her wedding. Divir wondered that the pangs of revisiting the flashy roads and streets of Jaipur on Diwali Eve could subside a bit if he made a quick dash to Oxford Street or Regent Street. During last Christmas, Divir was left spellbound when he walked along these very streets under the mind-boggling and luxuriant lights with which they were adorned to mark the festive spirit. A rejig of that memory while taking a slow walk could fix the homesickness. So thought our young chap. From his apartment at Sheffield Terrace, he walked down the hill to Holland Park subway station to board the tube. In order to reach the station, he always preferred to walk through the park, avoiding the boring footpaths along the busy streets. He liked enjoying the view of the Kyoto Garden Pond and the tall trees. While walking through Holland Park, he could hear the crushing of gravel under his hurried steps, which reassured him about the love for his homeland which was still present in his heart somewhere. He quickly boarded the train and finally got off at Oxford Circus. When he climbed up out of the subway station, Divir heaved a sigh of relief. He rescued himself from spending a lonesome, cold and dejected Diwali evening in the confines of his apartment. He experienced a momentary pleasure to see all that hustle bustle around him. He marched on to his favourite pub, the Argyle Arms, which offered an excellent street view plus a cosy spot. He ordered a beer, munched on a cream roll, and gulped his drink down hurriedly, since his favourite part of the evening was beckoning him, the slow and lazy stroll. He stood up, felt a slight easing up of the nerves, and took off to the main street. Divir was gliding and hovering over the footpaths like a happy bee. He was indulging in window shopping, an exercise that suited him the most because he never liked to splurge money on his whims and fancies like a typical Marwari. He believed that all capital should be re-rotated in order to earn more capital. He would stop over at a bookshop, quickly run through the latest titles, skim through newspaper headlines, and touch the glossy paper of revealing magazines. He would halt at florists' shops, bend over to inhale the fragrance of his favourite flowers, and then walk ahead. Just as he was admiring the elegance of a three-piece suit on display at a tailor's shop, he overheard the voice of an older lady speaking on her cell phone. The lady looked like an Indian woman who was around 70 years old. She was wearing trousers and boots, but the fine print of her scarf and shirt were unmistakably Indian. She wore silver hair, had a cute blunt nose, and was round and stout. The woman's voice poured into Divir's ear as she spoke in chaste and melodious Rajasthani. Jeevta raho sa, Diwali ri ghani ghani badhaiyan. Long live my children, lots and lots of wishes for Diwali. Divir was flabbergasted. For the first time in his stay of over 2 years in London, he came across a person who spoke the kind of Rajasthani which was spoken in his home. Was she a Rajasthani? Was she wedded to a Rajasthani? Was she born in India or in UK? Did she belong to Jaipur or Jodhpur or Udaipur? Divir's pulsating heart shot a flurry of questions at his mind. He turned around, saw a full glimpse of that lady, and waited obediently for her to finish her conversation. As soon as she hung up, Divir greeted her politely and tried to strike a conversation. Mujro kanusa Diwali ri Rama Shama, apro birajno kathero hai hukum. Salutations to thee, wish you a happy Diwali. Where do you belong to, madam? It was the woman's turn to be surprised now, as she least expected a stranger to greet her and wish her happy Diwali in this fashion. She radiated a motherly smile and said, I belong to Jaipur and my name is Urmila. If Divir could have his way, he would go dancing and screaming aloud all along the stretch of Oxford Street. What more could he have asked for? Meeting a fellow Jaipuri on the eve of Diwali when he was missing his hometown badly. Divir and Urmila struck an affectionate bond immediately. The kind of bond that is forged instantaneously, sometimes with strangers at the most unexpected of locations. The two indulged in a hearty and fluent conversation in mixed Rajasthani and English. Divir told her everything about himself, and Urmila talked at length about herself and her family. It turned out that the lady was the granddaughter of Bachrajji Singhvi, the finance secretary of Rajasthan during the second Congress government in the state. Divir's maternal grandparents and the Singhvis were neighbours in C scheme. What a small world. Divir offered Urmila a tea, and they both sat down on a bench to chit-chat. Urmila gave out a hearty laugh when she learned the reason for Divir's outing to Oxford Street on Diwali evening. She said that precisely the same reason had brought her to that location. The two shared a loud laugh and were happy to find this unexpected acquaintance. Urmila further told him that she is based in Birmingham, but is in London to visit her son, who is a renowned pediatrician living in Paddington. Divir and Urmila then let open the floodgates of their unfathomable reservoir of Jaipur's Diwali musings. Though there was an age gap of 3 decades between the two, but each narrated many fascinating accounts of Diwali revelry in Jaipur. Urmila's ancestral house was located on the prestigious MI Road in Jaipur, and she said that even in the 60s and 70s, the Roshni of MI Road was quite a spectacle to behold and was a treat to the eye. As a child, she was particularly fond of the ornamental Roshni at Johri Bazaar, Isar Lat and Tripolia Darwaza. The then Maharaja of Jaipur used to hold a special Atishbazi or fireworks show in his personal palace, which was attended by the who's who of India. The jewellery showrooms of traditional jewellers and royal goldsmiths residing at Johri Bazaar would glitter with lights and also with the dazzling diamond, gem, gold and silver jewellery that was displayed. The entire stretch of Johri Bazaar was fragrant with sweet smells of ittar as well as Hazara, Gulab, Mogra and Rajnigandha flowers. The Ram Nivas garden, which is also known as Albert Hall, was also specially lit up for the occasion, and people would throng to that monument in their motor cars and tongas to catch a glimpse of it. Divir added to all that Urmila had to share. He said that he really misses his friends from his school days and the fun that they used to have during the much sought after Diwali break. The entire gang of boys would roam around the city on their mopeds and scooters. None of them could manage to buy a bike back then. Traffic on Jaipur roads was much less in those days, and it was a joy to ride without a helmet on the broad streets of Jaipur on slow moving two-wheelers. The boys would have an ice cream at the famous Milky Den ice cream parlour at Raja Park, drive through the beautiful Rajasthan University campus, and then climb up the mountains to reach Nahargarh Fort after sunset. The fort gave a bird's eye view of the entire town, which lay spread below like an expensive carpet set with diamonds and pearls. The skyline of Jaipur would be shining and shimmering in the dark with continual fireworks from the terraces of homes located below. The boys would come back home in time, lest their parents would censor all their further movements and pocket money. At home, the real Diwali celebration would begin with the army of cousins from extended family gathered for a family reunion. Mithais, firecrackers and jokes would fill the atmosphere as family members would lighten up their moods after sober pujas performed to please Goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity. The approaching winters could also be felt in the slight nip in the air during late evenings, and that was the time when all family members would sit together and enjoy tea and conversations over a bowl of bhujia. Urmila listened to Divir as fondly as Divir listened to her. For a moment, they forgot that they are in London as they made a virtual visit to Jaipur. They both made each other's day and relished the pleasure of celebrating the real Diwali far away from their home. They exchanged numbers and invited each other to their homes. Before parting, Divij quickly ran to the Selfridges store and bought a fancy scented candle. He gifted it to Urmila. Urmila borrowed a cigarette lighter from a passerby, lit the candle and placed it on a corner at the footpath. This was their way to combine London and Jaipur in celebrating Diwali. Divir touched Urmila's feet and said a final goodbye. Before he could vanish, Urmila tapped his chin like a familiar, doting and affectionate aunt and took a 10-pounder note out from her purse. She placed it in Divir's palms, just as his aunts would do during Diwali when he was a child. He protested and said kiddishly, "Masi Sa, I earn a fat salary these days. I don't need this anymore." Urmila replied, "मासी कियो जने तो लेवनो ज पड़ेला, दिवाली री खर्ची भी कोनी देवना कहीं. If you have addressed me as your aunt, then you better take it. Won't I give my child some pocket money for Diwali?" The two laughed and went away. The end. So scholars, this was the short story titled Memories of the Real Diwali. I hope you must have enjoyed it. Please do like and share this video. Also subscribe to our channel Academia Unlimited for more fun. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thank you.